demoniac. Use my fangs to murder ya. Yo soy la diosa, los demonios no me controlan. Soy culebra.
All right, what's up, everyone? Octoberz here with another episode of Nightmare on Sedgwick Avenue. Today I have a really dope guest. As soon as I saw the trailer for this film that we're going to be discussing, I wanted to go ahead and get him on the podcast. He is a writer and director from Riverside, Bomani J Story. Hopefully I didn't butcher his name. And he just directed this film that's going to be releasing in June. Called The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster, and it's really dope concept. Without further ado, let me get him on the screen. Hey, did I pronounce your name right? Hopefully I didn't butcher it.
Bomani. Yeah,
okay,
I got you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for being on today.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, thank you. And I don't know if you kind of learned a little bit about the podcast. I don't know what your publicist advised you, but it's like a hip hop and horror kind of thing. So I'll probably kind of mix a little bit of both in the interview. Cool. Yeah, as soon as I saw your movie, I was like, oh, I gotta get you on. But like I said, we're talking about your brand new film. It comes out June what day was it?
June 9th in theaters, baby.
Perfect. Yes, and we'll release this around that time for everybody to catch on. But as soon as I saw the trailer, I was really like caught by it, especially like that opening sentence, like death is a disease. I was like, oh wow, like this is really dope. And like the spin of, like, I have like Frankenstein right here, like a spin on Frankenstein, right? So how did that like whole like concept for that story come about?
Well, like the concept line of like death is a disease is like one of my favorite movies is this movie called The Fountain, and by Aronofsky, and it's a line in there that really resonated with me, so it was my way to kind of pay homage to him. But other than that, like the movie came from the literature itself. I read the book and was just I loved it, and I knew that with all the other adaptations, they leave so much stuff on the floor that I wanted to do my own version of it, because there's so much ripe material there, and mixed with the mentorship from my sisters I got growing up, like I wanted to create something in their honor as well. They were my muse.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And how kind of like, to take it kind of from the beginning, how did you fall in love with like film and horror specifically? Where did that come from?
I can't say there was ever like a moment. I can say that it's kind of just been building. Like my sister used to scare me with all these horror movies when I was a kid, and I would always watch them, and then I'd watch more weird like horror stuff that scared me. And once I started getting into film school, I'd watch more horror, and and it just kind of just like grew into this thing. Then I started watching like staples of horror, and we just like got into it. So it was kind of just like a process and a journey with it. There was never like a moment where I watched and I was like, oh, I always want to be making that. I just have always been attracted to it. Are you recording on Zoom? Not to like break it or whatever, because usually there's like a little dot there. I didn't know if this was, or if this is something else.
Oh, okay. No, I'm recording through OBS, but
I got you. All right, cool. Sorry.
No, you're good. And what about like for like films, like what kind, like was there a movie that kind of inspired you to want to make movies? Like was there something that stood out that you're like, oh, that's why I want to make movies? Or what made you want to actually do film?
Again, that was basically like a process, because or a journey, because I started in high school. I was kind of doing I was in this multimedia club where they would make a little TV show every week, and it would air on Friday and broadcast across the school. And then after that, I was kind of like, my mom would, kind of suggested maybe I chase that. And I was like, oh, go away, mom. You don't know what you're talking about. But, she did. And then, went to community college and took some courses, and it started to grow, and then I went to USC, and like, then it really started to grow once I started seeing more movies and understanding the craft behind it and the art of storytelling and things of that nature. And because of that, like, it just was just something that kept growing. Like I would keep watching, and then like my love of film would just keep growing from that. So it's really been more of a journey than a like moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And part of doing, because this is your first like is it like a first like feature like wide release film for you, or have you had one before this one?
No, it's like this is my directorial debut, so it's like, this is kind of the first movie feature where I'm sitting in the director's seat.
That's dope. Congrats on that, by the way. Um, and I see like a lot of influences from like Jordan Peele, like some from the trailer, and then from watching the film. Like I get some of that. What inspired? Like what other films you think like inspired a little bit parts of the film or influenced, I guess you can say, of this new film?
Yeah, I mean, I think for this film, there's like I was working with a lot of influences for this, but like the main ones I would say are like, one staple just always and forever is going to be Tales from the Hood. It's like
Yeah,
you just can't get away from that. Like it's just going
yeah,
to be involved.
yeah.
That's just part of the culture. But the other big ones that I was always thinking about was a lot of like 70s and 80s horror. Like the big four for me throughout the process of making this movie was the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Black Christmas, the original one of that,
Nice.
Halloween and Alien, and of course the Shining. But like those were
Yeah.
kind of just always involved in the conversation while I was making this movie, as far as just like horror movie influences.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's cool that you mentioned those because I would have never thought like 70s horror was like an influence. Like some of it I can see like now that you say it, but um I was gonna ask too, like for the film, obviously you kind of touch. I don't want to give it away too much for those that haven't watched it when this drops, but um, part of the it's on the trailer anyways. Like it's pretty much about black on black violence, gang violence, and you kind of use that as kind of like one of the themes and family, of course, in your film. And what made you want to like kind of interwove that into the story versus something else?
I would say it's more of like systemic pressure, and how it makes uh, people make certain decisions. I think that was more of like an angle that I was taken with this, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I really just some of the films that I grew up watching, as well as the people in my life, and kind of capturing that and a certain uh, wants and needs, I would say, of people who kind of want to see this like black horror going down.
Yeah.
I, I wanted to cater to that. So
Cool. And do you want to like eventually like do more horror films as like a filmmaker since it's obviously your directorial debut, but do you see yourself kind of working in the genre or do you see yourself working outside of this genre and doing other projects?
I love horror, so I think I will make a return.
Oh,
And
cool.
if a good horror story comes across me, then it's like I'm going to do it because I have such a love for the genre.
Yeah.
Uh, I have other genres in my head that I want to toy with as well. So
Hmm.
I can see myself returning and jumping around a little bit.
Yeah, that's cool. And this film, when did you guys start like actually like production and all that? Was it during COVID, after COVID? Like how was the casting and all that?
Okay, it was like after. I mean, I guess we're still in, or I guess it
Yeah.
like officially ended. They say it's officially done now, or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
So I'll just give it the day. Like we started production in like pre-production in May of 2022 and started
Okay.
production in June of 2022.
Okay. And
Yeah.
how was the casting? Like, how did you guys have like actual people come in person, or was it more like tapings?
It was tapings and people coming in as like for auditions and like doing chemistry reads,
Yeah, yeah.
via Zoom.
Okay, that's dope. Yeah, because I mean, the lead actress like killed it. Obviously, she carries the story because it's kind of her story.
Yeah.
Um, how was that like casting her as a lead role?
Oh, it was phenomenal. Shout out to Leia.
Yeah,
She was incredible. She came in and auditioned and just like smacked it out of the park. Like I couldn't unsee her. So
yeah,
it was incredible. So uh, love Leia. I have nothing bad to say about her, and I'm very fortunate to have her be a part of this story and bring it to life. She carried the movie. She carried me,
yeah,
and she's phenomenal. Shout out to also, BAFTA award-winning actress. Shout out to her.
yeah. And what was the little girl? I forgot her name. The one that called her mad scientist.
Oh, that was Amani.
Yeah, she was also like she's a stood out like character for me too. Like she was just hilarious.
Yeah, I love Amani, man. She came in too, just like auditioned and smacked it out of the park. She was phenomenal to work with, man. She was
Yeah.
she was a trip, man. She was a trip.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, she has like so much like charisma or something about her character. Even though it was like short little scenes here and there, but it just like she stood out in those
Yeah,
scenes.
yeah, I love Amani. I hope she, I can't wait to see her career blossom.
Yeah, yeah, I can see her and Leia for sure.
Yeah.
And what was like the best part of like making this film? Like, what was the most like enjoyable part of it, and what was the most difficult?
I mean, I think just like getting through the entire thing was pretty because we only had 20 days, so we were
Oh
moving
wow.
pretty fast, and that was tough. Trying to make the days and like get through the days or whatever. It was such a short amount of time, so that was probably the toughest part. The funnest part was probably just like I guess the gore.
Yeah.
Like seeing our specialist Christina Cordum. She was incredible on it, and like seeing her. It's like the work that she was doing was just so weirdly gratifying
Yeah.
when making the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you about that because it was everything just like special effects, like for like the monster and everything like that, and all the like the scenes with the blood. Because I thought it was really cool how that was done.
No, that was all real stuff.
Yeah,
We
like
got
practical
yeah,
effects.
yeah, it's all real blood. Yeah, we went it down.
I love
Uh,
that. Yeah.
yeah, no, it was practical. Yeah, it was a big thing to be practical here because yeah,
Yeah, because in CGI kind of takes you out of the story sometimes. I feel like if it's not like real, you know?
yeah. If it's not dealt with properly, I think CG can sometimes do that. If it's not, I always think a healthy mixture between the two is always the strongest option.
Yeah. And how did you come with the idea as far as like how you wanted the I guess we'll call him the monster, how you wanted him to look? Like where did obviously like Frankenstein, but where else did you get ideas for that?
I mean, first off, it just came from a situation where it was like when I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, when you're dealing with a story like this, you're trafficking in corpses, and they're going to be decaying,
Mhm.
and you're not going to have like a healthy looking being, like they're all going to be at different stages of decay,
Yeah.
So me, that was kind of just like my viewpoint while I was, talking to our design person Tristan and Christina, our creature designer or whatever as well. So when I was talking to both of them, that's the big thing for me. I was just like, yeah, there needs to be some variations here.
Yeah. And I really like how like death was also kind of like a theme, right? It's one of the main themes of the film, and
Yeah.
how it was kind of like something that Vicaria kind of like her life was impacted by it in all aspects. And when the mom, hopefully that's a spoiler a little bit, but when the mom in the beginning they show her that she gets killed. From what I understood, was it like a stray bullet or something, like from like some sort of gang shooting or something, or because it doesn't really say it, but I was just like assuming from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I purposely kind of left that obscure of where that bullet came from. It could have came from, many different places. It could have came from a police,
Yeah,
gunfire. It's like it was. I wanted to leave that, up in the air because it doesn't, it's
or
like it doesn't
suicide
matter.
too could even fit, right?
It's like yeah, it just doesn't matter. It just matters
Yeah,
that, like, just like that this disease is following her.
yeah. Yeah, I really like that you left it kind of vague, because I
Yeah.
was just kind of like it can be left to interpretation of what happened, you know.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say too, like in the movie, obviously the gangs are like I'm guessing like blood, because they have like the red bandana, but red is kind of like a prominent color in some of the scenes.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to know, like, was that like intentional, or just kind of like just because it went with the flow of the, what people were wearing?
Yeah, no, I think, red is a very strong color, more
Yeah,
than gang relations, because I didn't want to be like, what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Disrespectful to the culture.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's like, I switched some things up there,
uh huh,
uh, the things that I know, from
yeah,
neighborhoods or whatever, and I switched it up to try to make sure that, they're not being disrespected.
yeah,
But it was more of a color of representation of certain things, because I think red is a powerful color that can mean passion, it can mean
mm-hmm.
anger, it can mean love. It's just
That's
like
true.
it's just such a strong strong color, and it was for me, I wanted it as a motif for this movie.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, like I noticed that and I was like, oh, this is really like cool.
Mhm.
And another thing I've noticed too, like you never really address like if it's. I'm thinking it's current, but then I realized there's like no cell phones really in the film. So I'm like, was that also intentional, like to leave it like open? Because I was like, that was pretty cool. I didn't even notice until I watched it the second time.
Yeah, yeah, it's like that definitely was intentional.
Yeah.
So let people discover that on their own.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
because even like the like where it takes place, like it can be any I guess like neighborhood, right? Like it just gives you that vibe of like that the neighborhood of like where you live. And I was like, oh, it leaves it like open ended to like where it actually takes place, because I was like, it can happen like now or it could have been 10 years ago, you know? So I really
Yeah.
like that aspect to it because it makes it
Oh,
universal, you know?
yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's weird these days. Like there used to be a time where technology like kind of wouldn't date your movie, but these days like it's immediate. I mean, there's a
That's
new
true.
iPhone every year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like you're immediately behind. So sometimes that stuff uh can date your movie in ways that you don't want it to.
That's true. And I really obviously it doesn't, it's not like the most positive, right? Like kind of ending, because it's kind of like a cautionary tale, which I like about that, because Pet Cemetery is one of mine and it kind of reminded me a little bit of Pet Cemetery, where they
Yeah.
say like dead is better, right? Because she's trying to like, you know, save her brother or like revive him, but in reality it's like sometimes like there's nothing we can do. It's death, is it happens to all of us.
Yeah.
um and the fact that it kind of backfired on her, right? So I really like that aspect of it. Like, was there a reason why you wanted to make it like more of a cautionary tale instead of, you know, like making it like, you know, sunshine and rainbows, and it's like, oh, he survives and, you know, he's like a normal normal
Yeah.
brother again, you know?
Well, I wanted to leave it. I mean, I wanted to leave that movie like it up to open to interpretation.
Yeah.
In what way it's whether it's cautionary or what. I
Yeah.
think you can see it a couple different ways. And that's some of the things that I love about a lot of movies that I like. It's like is when the ending is a little bit more. You get the closure, but it also leaves room for you to kind of keep thinking about certain things. Like I love the ending of The Thing.
Yeah.
Because it kind of just leaves it a little bit more open.
Yeah.
Uh,
And for you, I was gonna ask you, like, because it kind of, you know, deals with the theme about death, right? So, or and immortality. So, to you, what's scarier, to die or to be immortal?
um, yeah, to me, probably to be immortal. Like I think immortality is pretty scary.
Yeah,
It's like there's kind of feels like a pretty lonely life.
I was gonna say, yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because shout out to my grandpa. He just turned 102, and we were kind of laughing because he seemed like all moody, and I was like, man, living 102, you're probably like pissed. You're like, I'm still here.
Shout out to your grandfather, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, man, living through like so many like wars, depression, like, you know, all this
yeah,
stuff. So I was like, man.
yeah.
And so I agree with you. Like, I feel like immortality, yeah, is kind of scarier, because at least death, you know, it's coming, and you know, you eventually, whatever happens afterwards, who knows? But with immortality, like, you're gonna get to see like loved ones die. Like,
Yeah,
it is a lonely road.
yeah.
Um, and then I also liked that you named her Vicaria instead of like Victoria. Like, what was the inspiration for that name?
For Vicaria.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't remember where it came from. I just know it happened. Like I
Yeah.
just felt like I was thinking about it and like researching and stuff, and like it just kind of popped up. It just came. So like I can't say that it was ever really I can't say there was ever like a direct thing. I just know
Yeah.
that I was thinking about these things, and then the name just kind of popped in.
Yeah. And it's obviously a homage to like Victor Frankenstein, I'm guessing, right? Or am I wrong?
I'll let the audience, put that together. It's like they can put that together on what it is. Yeah.
And then I was gonna ask you too, like, what was your favorite scene to film for that film?
Um, we probably had a lot of fun during that school scene.
Yeah.
During that school scene. That one was pretty fun. It's weird. It's a tough scene, but it was that one was pretty fun to do.
The one with the dad, or the one in where she's like telling off the teacher?
Uh, Probably both,
Yeah.
but I'll lean towards hers, which is her and the teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I really like that scene, and I can feel like the tension though, because I think
Yeah.
we, I've at least I can say I've been there where like the teacher is kind of like condescending, and just because you're either black or brown, like I don't know, like they don't know how to control the situation, right? So
Yeah.
I could feel that tension on coming through the screen.
Yeah.
Um, and for you, what's like your greatest fear?
Like fear, like, oh yeah, what am I scared of? Um, I don't know, maybe like, losing purpose, losing your
That's a
purpose
good
or not
one.
achieving your purpose. I think that's a pretty scary place to be, like, or your identity. Like I think those things are pretty scary places to be.
Yeah, I agree. And I was gonna say for you, because you were at the South by Southwest, right? That's where you premiered the film. Like, how has
Mhm.
that been? Like doing like film festivals.
It's been phenomenal. I get to, for the first time, see it with an audience, which is awesome. And see how they're reacting and see it on the big screen. And yeah, that's been like, it's been really cool doing that. So I enjoy it.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I just went to the one here in San Diego. We have like a Latino film festival,
Oh,
and it was like
sweet.
kind of like it happens every year, but I was like it was the first time I like decided to volunteer, and
Mm-hmm.
so it was pretty cool like watching all these like independent like filmmakers and just like seeing like films every day was like really cool. Just
Yeah. Yeah. What was the name of the festival again?
the SD Latino Film Festival, so just like
Okay.
Latino filmmakers, but it was really dope.
That's dope.
Yeah, yeah. And I
Hmm.
think they have another one, but it's the just the SD Film Awards. So
Okay.
yeah,
Hell
but
yeah.
it's interesting, and I like you said, like getting to see the people's reactions, and then just the
Yeah.
Q&As too that they do. Like I'm a nerd for all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell,
um, and what was your like? What other film festivals have you been? Just the South by Southwest, or have you done other ones?
I've done other ones. I was at South by Southwest, and then Minneapolis, Calgary,
Oh wow,
um, Milwaukee, Atlanta, Jim Thorpe. We played at Boston Underground, and we played at Overlook. And I think there's like one or two more I might be forgetting. I think we played in a Santa Fe one, but yeah, I'm not sure.
that's cool. Which one was your favorite one, and
Oh,
why?
come on. I can't answer that. They're all phenomenal festivals, all
That's true.
phenomenal.
So you want to
Yeah.
get all those awards.
Yeah.
And obviously, like being black director in a horror, like I feel like it's been thriving more. Like we see more black and brown stories being told, which I like because it's coming from a different lens, different perspective. For you, like, what do you want to do that kind of makes you stand out or different, like for the genre?
Um, I mean, to me, I just want to kind of like I want to explore these, not only just horror, but a bunch of other different genres.
Yeah,
Expand that and see us in different genres and stuff like that. That's what I would love to do, and really just tell hopefully compelling stories that connect with somebody. That's what I'm always hoping is that like the story will connect with someone. So that's kind of like where my head is at with it.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, and like you're off to a great start right now. So,
Oh, thank you.
congrats on this release. And one of the questions I like to ask is like, what are your top? Like I said, it's hip hop and horror. So, what are your top five horror movies, and what are your top five hip hop albums?
All right, here we go. So we'll start with the horror. All right, top five horror. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is definitely up there.
Okay.
I love the French movie Martyrs.
Okay.
See what else do we got? Man, okay, yeah, I haven't been asked like the horror movie thing. I can give you those two.
Yeah.
The other three that that I have to like think about, like I don't know if I can go that far because I've seen a lot and I love a lot, but
Yeah.
I'll just go what the quickest that come to me. It's like I do make a lot of returns to The Thing,
Mhm.
John Carpenter's The Thing, and uh, what else? Ooh, yeah, I do consider. Let's see, which movie? Probably, yeah, probably Mulholland Drive or
Oh yeah,
Inland
that's a good one.
Empire. One of those two. Like those are like I consider those horror. As much as
Yeah.
strange as those, I just consider those horror. So like one of those two, swapping between those two, and
I know it's hard. It's so many.
Yeah, it's tough. I can't give you a fifth one. I cannot give you a fifth one.
No worries.
I can't give
I
you a
always
fifth one.
change mine too. I'm always like rotating them around.
Yeah, like I know for sure my top two are Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, and the French Martyrs.
Okay.
But but the next three, those are constantly like shifting. Black Christmas is probably on there.
Oh yeah.
It's like I love the original Black Christmas, and um yeah. But as far as hip hop albums,
Yeah.
can I
Or
do
artist.
artists
Yeah, you could do
instead?
artist too.
Yeah. Okay, so that's much more feasible. So Nas, Tupac, Wayne, Jadakiss, and Busta Rhymes.
Okay, that's good. That's a good one.
Mm.
Yeah, I need to see Busta. I heard he's like a really dope performer. I've never seen him though, but one day
Yeah,
hopefully.
I saw him at the Hollywood Bowl a few months back.
Oh really? How was that?
Yeah, oh, he was incredible.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was the first time I ever seen him. I'd always wanted to see him as a kid because I heard that he's a great performer,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I finally got to see it. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I think I saw like a Drink Champs interview, and Nori was saying that like nobody ever wants to go after him because he just shuts it down. But
Yeah, there was just when he came on stage, it was at the tour that Nas did with Wu-Tang.
oh,
And
okay, yeah,
yeah, so I saw that. And of course, Nas is legend, Wu-Tang is legend. So
yeah,
everybody was incredible, so it wasn't
yeah,
like put anyone to shame, but like
yeah,
when Busta Rhymes came out there and the way he just manipulated the audience,
yeah,
on how he, controlled the elevation of, them and
yeah.
like quieted them down. It like he just has such a immaculate control of like how to play the audience like a violin. It's crazy.
That's pretty cool. And he always has his hype man. I forget his name. The guy
Yeah,
that
Split
always.
Star.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Split Star. Yeah, he's dope. He's dope as fuck.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. Yeah, I wanted to go because 50 Cent I don't know if you heard that he's doing like his get rich or die trying like final tour or whatever, and
Oh,
Busta's
really?
gonna be there with him. Yeah, and I was like, I want to
Oh,
go, and then I saw the
yeah.
tickets. I'm like, never mind.
Yeah, yeah, we'd be priced out, man.
Yeah, I was like, man, this
Yeah,
inflation is getting crazy. I'm like, I remember these used
yeah,
to be half the price for like three
yeah.
people. Yeah, I was like, never mind, because I'm like, I want to sit like in the good seats. I don't want to sit far and pay still a
Yeah,
lot. I'm like, nah, just I'll do it another time.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
uh, and what's like your favorite horror villain? I'm guessing I don't know, maybe Leatherface, but because you said Texas Chainsaw, but who would it be for you?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess Leatherface is pretty yeah, probably Leatherface. Yeah, it's like when I'm thinking about the villains, like yeah, I think Leatherface is probably the one that like probably scares me the most, but
Yeah,
he's a
that
fascinating guy.
chainsaw.
Yeah, yeah, and the Leatherface.
Yeah. And what about like for your favorite like final girl?
Leia De Leon Hayes, and the
Yeah.
Angry Black on the Rock, pretty
Gotta shout her
awesome.
out.
Great, yeah, she's a fantastic final girl. You,
Yeah.
you you know what I mean?
That's a great answer. uh,
Yeah.
and what's like a most recent horror movie that you recommend besides your film?
Oh, the angry. No, I was playing. Man, so the three, I have to give you three.
Okay.
Two of them are more recent than the other one. The other one's still fairly recent, but I would say Raw,
Okay. Yeah.
and Teton.
Okay. I've heard great
it's
things about that
and
one.
yeah, Teton's fantastic, and Pearl is incredible.
Oh yeah, that dialogue at the end was
Oh my
crazy.
God, it's fantastic. So yeah, I'd point to those ones.
Yeah, good recommendations.
Mm.
And I was gonna say too, like, what's the greatest accomplishment so far for you, like either directing or personally that you have accomplished that you're proud of?
Yeah, I mean, so far, probably getting this movie made, because it's so hard. You never know if a movie's gonna make it or not. It's like it's so difficult to get something this far. So, I'd probably say just getting this movie off the ground, period. And sticking with it because it's so difficult to kind of do that.
Okay, yeah. And I want to thank you, for being on. I know you have other probably interviews, but this is the last one that I like to end it with. Like, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind, either creatively or personally?
Yeah, I mean, I hope I leave a legacy of a body of work that's interesting. I want an interesting body of work. I want a lot of different genres. I want staples. It's like I hope to have a body of work like my heroes do.
Nice. Well, like I said, you're off to a great start. Congrats again on your
Thank
film. I'm
Yeah.
excited to, I'm gonna go watch it on the big screen. I still got to support, even though I saw it already. But it makes a difference, when you see it on the big screen.
Yeah,
Uh,
please show up June 9th.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
June 9th, and then I'll share all the links and stuff like that in the description. But thank you so much for being on today. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you for having me, man. And everyone go see this movie June 9th, in
Yes.
theaters, baby.
Alrighty, and go follow him. I have his IG here. But thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Alrighty,
All
bye.
right. All right.
All right. That was Bomani J Story. And let me put the IG here. Here, Story is King. Again, really excited that I had him on. I know he's probably booked with interviews because the movie's about to come out. Go watch it. Again, I'll share the links in the description of this YouTube. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow me. 7 Octoberz on all platforms. And yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like, comment, all that is appreciated. Thank you.